What's going on, guys? The Comics Kid 2099 here to talk to you about Ultimate Hawkeye by Jonathan Hickman and Rafa Sandoval. This is a 4-issue miniseries. In terms of the lifespan of the Ultimate Universe, I know this comes after Ultimatum. In fact, it comes after the Ultimate X miniseries by Jeff Loeb and Art Adams, because those characters show up in this book. But I don't know how much later it comes. I don't know if this was like 2 months after Ultimate X finished, or if this was like a year. I have no idea. This might be one of the later books in Ultimate Universe that I have. And I am going to sound like a broken record, especially if you watched my video on Ultimate Thor, also written by Jonathan Hickman, but there's not a whole lot here to talk about. I don't really understand why this miniseries exists. Again, a lot like Ultimate Thor. So the premise is somewhere in Southeast Asia, some scientists invented something that a virus that is basically supposed to cure mutants of their mutancy, I guess you could say. And then simultaneously, they have also invented a serum to give people powers. Now, this is a little confusing to me because you find out in Ultimate Origins, which came out right before Ultimatum, you find out that mutants are a man-made phenomena. They are not naturally born with powers, but it was some kind of genetic creation. Mutants were created in a lab by mankind. So this miniseries says that these guys have somehow erased mutants from the planet, and I'll get to that in a minute, but then they've created these people with powers. So I don't know how these new characters, and at one point they start calling themselves Celestials and Eternals, and those are two very different things in the main Marvel Universe, but these guys are using those words fairly interchangeably. I don't know how they differ from mutants in this reality, since they also get their powers from man-made experimentation. As far as I can tell, they are virtually identical to mutants. But this is acting like it's a big deal that all the mutants are gone now, and then these new characters, they are somehow different than mutants. Also, we have some mutants who show up here. Nick Fury sends his team of secret mutants, Ultimate X. That's Devin, the guy with the wings, Liz Allen, and Jean Grey, and the Hulk. He sends them to help Hawkeye in Southeast Asia at one point. They still have their powers. This miniseries also reveals that Hawkeye may be a mutant. They talk about how most people have in your eyeball, you have rods and cones, and one of them helps you see colors, and one of them, I think, helps you with like distance. And Hawkeye, he has like 4 times as many rods than a normal human, but he has less cones. So, or he says he has less cones. I don't know. And so, is he a mutant? I don't know. But if he is, he still has his powers at the end of this miniseries. So whatever these scientists did to try and erase mutants from the planet, clearly it didn't work. Or maybe it's working all over the planet and it's just not working on the mutants that we see here. And it's not really explained, okay, how does that work? Are all the mutants eventually going to lose their powers? If so, they don't really dwell on that much. But anyway, so these guys, they have basically, they've created a new strand of mutants, and then these mutants revolt and take over, they call it the Southeast Asian Republic, or the Seer. And that's not a thing in real life, that's just a thing in the Ultimate Universe, and they have taken over the Seer, and so Hawkeye is sent in initially to kind of, I guess, help some S.H.I.E.L.D. agents who are already there, but then he is told he needs to get the serum that was created that gives these people their powers. And then the Ultimate X team is sent in, and then we find out that these people, they have built a new utopia here in the Seer, and it is Zorn and Zorn. Now, Zorn and Zorn were both characters in the main Marvel Universe. It's very confusing, very, very long story short. One of them was a crazy guy who was pretending to be Magneto, pretending to be Zorn, and the other one was a pretty mellow guy who was his brother. And then here, they're both brothers. One of them spells his name Z-O-R-N. One of them spells his name X-O-R-N. And they are the leaders of this new, I'm going to call them mutants, but whatever they're calling themselves. And they build this city of Tien, T-I-A-N, in like a day. And also we get the city of Tien in the main Marvel Universe, and I don't know if that was before or after this miniseries, but it was around the time of Secret Empire. All the mutants were living on Tien, and basically Hydra had taken over America and said, you mutants stay over there, you're fine over there, but don't come into America. And so I have no idea which one came first, if it was Secret Empire or this, but I want to say that the Ultimate Hawkeye miniseries came first, but one of the Zorns, he's kind of more militaristic. The other one is a little bit more mellow, but they're also on the same side, I think. One of them, he said, we are trying to control our rage because we were all created in a lab against our will. We all have this inner rage, and we, the followers of one of the Zorns, are trying to create, we're trying to control our rage, while my brother, he and his followers, they are trying to just let it out, and they have no interest in keeping it under control. But the two brothers are still friendly with each other, and they're still seemingly co-ruling the city of Tien. And it's really weird because all of this happens in like 2 or 3 days. Like the revolt happens, the city is built, I guess with their mutant powers, and then Hawkeye is able to get out all within just a few days. And I feel like, I don't know how you would do this, but I feel like it would have made more sense if these guys could have had their new utopia for a little while before the story started. Because as is, I really have no idea what the status quo is in the Ultimate Universe. So much happens here in such a short amount of time, it's very difficult for me to keep up with it. I don't know, is Zorn number 1 planning on shifting away from the ideology of Zorn number 2? Are they going to part ways, or are they planning on continuing working together? I have no idea. But at the end of the miniseries, basically most of Ultimate X decides that they want to stay in Tien. They have no interest in working for Nick Fury, and so they stay. Hulk wants to stay, but they don't let him because he killed some of the Eternals, and so then one of the Zorns teleports Hulk somewhere. He's at, it looks like kind of an Asian monastery of some kind, and he walks in and somebody says, "Welcome back, Bruce." I have no idea who it is, and again, there could be years of stuff that I'm missing in between the Ultimates by Mark Millar and this miniseries, because I've read in between Ultimates by Mark Millar and Brian Hitch, and this miniseries I read Ultimate Human and Ultimate X. So there could be something that I'm missing where Bruce was in an Asian monastery. I have no idea. But then he's there, and that's the last we see of him. And then Hawkeye is able to get some of the serum, and then he goes to Nick Fury and says, "Hey, I got it." And then that's the last page where he says, "I never miss." And then it says, "Continued in the Ultimates." And I have no idea which Ultimates this is talking about, because right after Ultimatum, there was a series called New Ultimates, and it, as far as I know, didn't have anything to do with Hawkeye or Tien or mutants being erased and this other mutants coming about. It was a series of like teenagers, like Miles Morales and I think Kitty Pryde. They were the new Ultimates. So I think this is talking about a different team of Ultimates. Unfortunately, all it says, I'm going to have to find it because there's a script here at the end. All it says is continued in the Ultimates. I'll show you right there. I have no idea. Like, this is where it would have been great if they said continued in the Ultimates Volume 1, Gods and Monsters, or whatever. If they said that, then I could go and quickly look. Just off the top of my head, I am not aware that Jonathan Hickman also wrote an Ultimates line after, because at this time you had the Ultimate Avengers, after Ultimatum, you had the Ultimate Avengers by Mark Millar, and then you had the New Ultimates. I don't know when that happened, so I have no idea what happens after this. And a lot like the Thor miniseries, there's just not a whole lot of story here. This is a prologue to a much bigger event. All we really get here is that these scientists created a new species of mutants, and then Hawkeye goes and gets the serum. It could have been one issue of the Ultimates, wherever this story continues. But it was a 4-issue miniseries by itself. It doesn't really stand on its own. It feels like the first 10 minutes of a movie, and then you don't get to watch the rest of the movie. And then you don't even know where you can watch the rest of the movie at a later time, because all it says is the Ultimates, and there's like 4 different series that could be. And so ultimately, no pun intended, I really don't think that there's much here that I can recommend. We do get to find out a little bit about Hawkeye's backstory and how he met Nick Fury. We find out that he's maybe a mutant. They don't call him that. At one point, after the Gulf War, Nick Fury talks about having enhanced humans under his command. And I'd love to know who they are and where they were when they were forming the Ultimates, which was a good bit after the Gulf War. I don't have I don't know when the Gulf War was, but I'm pretty sure it ended sometime before like 98, and the Ultimate starts in the early 2000s. So, and Nick Fury is like trying to put together a team of superheroes in the Ultimates. Where is this team of enhanced humans that you allegedly had, according to this? But they don't call Hawkeye a mutant, but they do call him an enhanced human. So we get to see a little bit about, okay, this is why Hawkeye is so loyal to Nick Fury. At one point, one of the Zorns says, if I give you this serum, it's probably going to start a war across the entire planet. And Hawkeye seems A-okay with that. He is loyal to Nick Fury to a fault. That's an interesting character dynamic. I'd love to see more of Hawkeye is so loyal to Nick Fury that he knows he's probably going to thrust the entire planet into war, but he doesn't want to disappoint Nick Fury because Nick Fury saved his life and gave his life purpose. Okay, that's interesting. Unfortunately, this book doesn't do anything with it. It just happens, and then, oh, the book is over. So I'm starting to think that I kind of hate Jonathan Hickman's writing because I really didn't like the Thor miniseries, didn't think there was much there, didn't think there was much here. I hate to say it because everyone else on the planet seems to really like Jonathan Hickman's work. This really isn't doing anything for me. So, unfortunately, I don't think that I could recommend Ultimate Hawkeye unless you already have the Ultimate stuff that this continues in which case maybe you would really appreciate this. But I didn't have that, so I can't say that this really worked for me. So that is all that I have to say. I hope you guys like this video, and I will be back in the future to talk about something else. In the meantime, have a great rest of the day. Catch you later.